Yeah, welcome back.
Thank you. It's good to be back.
Amazing to have you here.
Well, it's amazing to be here. Yeah.
And thanks for yesterday.
Mate, I had a great time.
Yeah.
No, it's really cool to support people doing things, rally around the business community. And yeah, it was actually fun. Yeah. And I learnt a lot and had a good time. And so, yeah, no, thanks for inviting me.
Super cool. Yeah, we've done another event at the Loft, but that was just another level altogether, right? I guess that's the cool thing with the podcast is that we can somewhat document the process, like thinking back to our last episode, which was only actually just over a year ago. So not that long ago in the Loft, with DIY handheld mics.
Holding the mic was always, but it's cool to see how far you've grown. We're in a massive space now. It looks really cool. And it's good to have mics that hold themselves up. And so what's been about it just over a year?
So April 2024.
Mm-hmm.
So what about you? What's been like a couple of highlights or some things that have stood out in the last 12, 15 months?
Good question, right? Actually it's been quite an interesting 12 to 15 months. Lots of learning, lots of kind of, I guess, testing the waters of things. Probably thought I was going to be quite committed in one direction and then kind of realized actually it's not quite what I want to do. And took a bit of time off, went around Europe. Me and my wife drove around and did a road trip. It was cool. And it's been an interesting 12 months. It's kind of off the back of exiting a few companies. It was kind of weird. For some reason, I felt guilty that I wasn't working, like I wasn't busy. So I found myself doing like 20 meetings a week, which is a lot of meetings, right? And burning myself out. And I was like, well, if I do 0 meetings or 20 meetings, I'm not actually getting paid for any of this stuff. So I'm like, why am I doing this? And it was kind of like all right, got to kind of, I've shaken out a few trees to see what opportunities are out there. Time to start saying no. And that was actually quite a big thing for me is saying no to opportunities. I found out that I was quite addicted to good investment sounding opportunities. I'd be like, I'm keen. I'm keen. But now, 12, 18 months later, we've got something here for us.
I think I can hear something arriving.
Oh, nice. Just in time.
Wow. Oh, a Reaper.
Wow. Refreshing.
Amazing.
I had one of these yesterday, and it was actually bloody good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let's crack in.
And you got the flavour I wanted too.
Yeah.
Well, cheers.
Cheers, Simon. What were you doing in April 2024? I think you just recently exited.
Yeah. Transaction happened 1st of April. So 5th of April, I was flying off to Europe, went to business school, IMD business school in Switzerland to do a venture asset management course, which was great. Do a bit of skiing while I was there. It's always a cool feeling when you're, I was in Lausanne on the lake of Lake Geneva. Well, they don't like you to call that. What are they? Lake Lamont is the real name for it. You call it Lake Geneva in Lausanne, everyone gets angry. So apologies to anyone who's from Lausanne. I will call it Lake Lamont. But one of my best mates lives 20 minutes away from where the school is. So the day after school was done, he picked me up in his van and we went skiing in Verbier. And I was like, oh, this ain't so bad.
So good.
Yeah, it was really cool. But so went to business school. That was fun. Came back to New Zealand. Just started to kind of brainstorm out like, all right, I'm here now. Where do I want to go? And it's probably been a bit of a learning experience going, if you can do whatever you want, what do you actually want to do? And then it's been kind of interesting going, I thought I wanted to do this, but actually I don't, or not at least in this way. So I've sort of reinvented myself, at least mentally up here, a couple of times in the last 12 months, but finally kind of got a bit of a rhythm now. I've got a bit more of a picture and, a few decisions and a few things had to land and a few balls were in the air for a while and they're starting to land now, which is kind of cool. So next 12 months is, it's looking pretty good. Yeah. Pretty excited about what's happening now and, where the next 12 months and maybe in 12 months when I come back, where I'll be.
Well, it's good point. This is a time capsule, right? So I think at that point last year, I don't think you could really talk about the exit in too much depth. And I don't know if you can now either, but.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I remember it was kind of, I think we filmed just before it and we were kind of like, this will come out after it, right?
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, no, so it was really cool. It's nice when someone writes you a big check and, you feel good about yourself and feel like you've done a good job. And, business owners, that we get paid last, and people don't realize that. They think we get paid first, and that's a real mistake. And for me, because all the businesses I've been investing in are super high growth, all about reinvesting back into it, just chasing growth. You don't really take too much out of the business along the way. I mean, I was lucky enough, I still got paid an all right salary and paid the bills and, put petrol in the car and whatever. But for me, that was my payday. So that was nice to have, really a 10-year journey, come to fruition. So that was cool. Yeah. And then I exited another company as well, which is good. So yeah, just in the process of exiting that at the moment, which is good.
Right.
So it happened last year, but just waiting for the final payouts to come through, and then that'll be done and dusted. So yeah, no, I've had kind of 12 months to go, what do I want to do now? What do I want to do next? What do I enjoy? What do I think I enjoy? What challenges me? And, what am I good at? And trying to find something that kind of ticks all those boxes, right?
The overlap, the ikigai.
Yeah.
You know that phenomena or a book?
Which one is that?
Ikigai, it's the Japanese word which essentially is what you've described.
Okay.
It's the overlap or intersection of what you're good at, what the market will pay for,
yes,
what you like doing. There's another, I butchered it completely, but
I know the one you mean.
It's the theory.
Yeah, I know that's essentially the thought process I've been going through and kind of retesting and rethinking and rebranding in my mind. And yeah, it's been interesting. Like, I think when I was here last time, I definitely thought I was heading in one direction. Did a bit of due diligence, shook out the tree a bit, and then actually did the numbers, looked at the energy levels, and went, it's not quite what I want to do. So I guess it's probably been the biggest thing, is actually going, like when I go into a meeting, talking with a business owner or a potential, founder or investor or business owner, when I leave that meeting, did that give me energy? Then I'm all in. If it took energy from me, then I'm out, right?
Yeah.
And I was saying to someone yesterday at the event, like I had a chat with a private equity firm, right? On a Friday, I don't know, let's say 1 p.m, done by 3 p.m, 2-hour meeting. And I literally had to go home and have a nap. That's how much energy.
Wow.
And it just drained from me.
Yeah, right.
So like Friday afternoon, I just went home and slept. And I was like, what is that telling me, right? If you're in a meeting, it's a 2 hours and you exit being like, there's nothing left from me. It's just drained everything. And that's just a meeting. What's that opportunity going to be like played out? And is it really what I want to do? Where you go to another meeting and you come out, fist pumping and ready to go and, start chasing that. And so I've been trying to listen to my energy a bit more because, like I said before, like I was doing like 20 meetings, burning myself out. And I was like, actually, why am I doing this? Like, I almost felt like I was, I don't know, like not being lazy, but kind of, I don't know, I just assumed people would expect me to be busy. So I was kind of like, I better be busy so people think I'm busy. But then it took me probably 6 months to realize like, you don't know what I'm doing tomorrow. So whether I'm doing something or nothing, it doesn't change your life. So I guess I don't have to have 4 or 5 meetings. So that was good. And then, the other thing, which was learning how to say no to some investment opportunities, because it's a process, right? When you're investing into a business, you meet the founder, you meet the team, you hear about the ideas, you've heard the pitch a few times, you've gone in, you've seen if there's chemistry, you've seen if there's, something that you can do to help or, really understand the size of the opportunity. And then, and sometimes I'm a little quick to talk and, then I actually go back and think about things before I act. So, I wanted to get better at just being able to say, hey, sorry, but great opportunity, just not for me. And that probably took me a bit longer to, be in that space where I'm comfortable saying to a founder like, hey, cool idea, hope it works, give me a call if I can help. But just not what I'm looking for at the moment. So it's been kind of refreshing. Yeah. And that's allowed me to sort of focus on more of the type of deals I actually want to do. Which has been good.
If I could interrupt the podcast for one moment, I want to say a big thank you to one of our sponsors, Stoke Homes. Whether it's your first home or your dream home, think Stoke Homes. Thank you. How do you balance that logical brain versus the emotional brain or that energy brain? Because they're quite opposing forces, aren't they?
Good question.
Like, for example, at the private equity meeting.
Yeah.
despite it draining you, imagine if there was like massive financial upside or some
Oh, I mean, there
almost
definitely would be.
no-brainer type
But that's the
situation.
thing, right? Yeah. Good question. Well, do you let one draining meeting fully guide you, or do you let one meeting just kind of make you aware for the next one that you go in with your eyes wide open and kind of really double or triple checking if this is the opportunity you want? I mean, but yeah, for me, it's not just how big is the opportunity, it's how much energy is it going to take of mine, how much time is it going to take of mine, and what's the chances of it succeeding. It's kind of strange, like, even though I got paid quite a bit of money, everyone's like, do you miss your old business? And I said, well, no, not at all. Some of the stuff for sure, but like the only thing I really missed was having a salary. Like, it's crazy how much it just, I don't know, I don't like living off my investment income, right? Or eating into my capital. It's just, that just feels like me, like I'm going backwards. So where if you'd asked me a day before, I would have thought, what do I care if I have a salary for? But as soon as it was gone, I was like, little things just sort of $1,000 here, $1,000 there, $1,000 there, $1,000 there. And you're like, oh, okay. And I used my rates as an example. And I got a rates bill, $17,000. And I was like, what?
For Christchurch?
For Christchurch, yeah.
Oh, geez,
Christchurch rates are high.
That's really put me off, by the way.
That's for multiple properties.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So not just for one. Yeah.
Okay,
but it's still a $17,000 bill, and if I'd got that when I'm working and earning, it's a bad day at the office, but it's not like it doesn't ruin your month or whatever. But get a 17 grand bill and you've got no income, no personal exertion income anyway. You're like, oh damn, like, So for me, actually, kind of I shifted my focus from being like, oh, do I want to go into venture, which is kind of basically earn nothing for a long time on the hope that you get paid massive. And I'm like, I don't really want to do that, and I don't really want to do that as my job. I actually wanted to do some deals where I'm getting paid. So yes, that's what I actually pivoted my focus to be like a bit more cash flow orientated rather than just ultimate capital growth orientated. So yeah, like I'm trying to have a good mix. Obviously, you still want to have some potential winners, but also it's just nice to have things that are just returning a good, every month, just money's coming in, and ideally for as little input or time as possible, trying to get that balance right.
Hey, quick interruption. When I'm not podcasting, I'm working on growing Alt and working with clients as my main role as a business coach. Right now, I'm looking to meet more fellow business owners. The reason is simple. The more people I know, the more value I can bring, whether it's through coaching, the podcast, or just connecting good people. If you're based in Christchurch, let's grab a coffee. If you're further afield, let's jump on a call. Now, let's get back to the episode.
Yeah, so I guess what you're saying is that if that payday from the exit is in longer term stuff that's not really yielding cash flow, then you need something to provide the cash flow. And I suppose the logical thing would just be having a mixture, right?
Yeah, rebalance the portfolio, right?
Yeah.
And which I've done. But it was probably, at least for me, I was like, oh, wow. Like, I really thought I could live off a lot less of that. And I didn't think it would grind my gears living off investment income as much as it does.
Yes.
And then if you have to eat into capital for something, that really grinds my gears, right?
Yeah.
For me, that's just throwing money out the window.
Yeah.
So that's why I kind of was like, oh, all right, now I need to get into some more paid. And at the start, I was doing lots of free consulting, free work, just trying to help people, again, find opportunities or whatever. But then I was like, actually at Christmas time, I was like, why am I doing this for free? Like, you can pay me if you want my help. So now I basically don't do anything for free, because otherwise I've just got other opportunities that will pay me something, right? So
totally.
It's
What do the next 12 months look like?
Good
if
question.
We are sitting down and say sometime next year.
So just purchased a business, which is cool. So and I bought into a couple of businesses actually, and I probably can share a story with one of them and how. Well, maybe I'll start with this other one. So, bought into a manufacturing business, steel windows and doors business, and it's been really cool. I'm not a tradesman. I can't weld. I don't know how windows fit into buildings. So I'm not at any shape or form operational in the business. I'm more of a just providing the capital and the coffee. But it's been really cool to come in with a kind of investment thesis of, can we buy, everyone's doing it, boring boomer businesses, which this was. It was a boring boomer owner who was away hunting during DD and was never around and stuff. But, he was 2 feet out the door. But, he had built a good business over 20 years. He was financially successful through the business. So, he was just just wanted it gone, basically.
Right.
But my thesis for this sort of small end deals was, well, let's buy it with a smart management team. And so in this one, I was really lucky that my cousin and my uncle both wanted to operationally work in this business. And then my other 2 cousins, one's a CFO, one's a well-paid engineer, and myself would create an advisory board around it.
Mm-hmm.
So you got 5, operators in their own right coming into this, small business, 25 staff in South Auckland, and seeing what we could achieve. And 12 months in, I'm just so thankful that I've had my uncle and my cousin working full time in the business day to day, showing up 60, 80 hours, whatever it takes, right?
Yeah.
Because if I'd bought that business more of a hands off, put in a GM kind of that sort of game plan, I'd be up at night sweating. I would be super worried, especially in the construction game. It's not going well in New Zealand at the moment. It's not easy. It's quite bespoke. It's 25 staff. There's 25 different ways that people like to work. People like to be managed. People quite like the old owner and how he ran it. And now there's new owners who want to improve it. So yeah, so that's been a really good win. So now I was kind of going, all right, well, if we're going to buy businesses, I don't just want to buy businesses because it's profitable. I want to buy businesses that with the right management team, we can then actually increase the value.
Makes
rather
sense.
than just buying them to, roll them up or, I don't know, provide accounting services to them or something, just to get a bit of scale. But for me, that's been a really good win. And then that kind of led me on to well, what business would I buy if I'm going to be the management team that you put in, right? My expertise is finance, right? I like doing deals, and I'm not operational. I'm very much just strategic and commercially bring things together. So I was kind of, shaking out the tree, looking for opportunities. And then a good friend of mine, he said he'll be, I think I could say this, he'll be 60 next year. So he's like, hey, I'm thinking about retiring. And he said, do you want to buy my business? And so I went, wow, nice car outside, pretty nice lifestyle. And it ticked a lot of boxes for me. Profitable, comes with a nice salary, makes good money. And the best thing about it was 2 or 3 staff, just a low staff count,
Yeah.
After managing, well, including contractors, probably 150 people, across a couple businesses. The idea of having payroll and it's 3 people and you're one of them sounded really appealing.
It was pretty good, yeah.
But then also looking at it going, it's a solid business, right? And I'll talk more about it soon. Really good systems, really good processes, well run, well managed, profitable. But if we're being honest, it's probably running at 30. Well, my assessment was that it's running at 30 to 50% of where it should be, right? And that's purely because the current owner, has a great life, earns good money. He's busy enough without being too busy. It's just the perfect lifestyle business for him. And so I initially got into due diligence on the business thinking it would be a nice lifestyle business for me, which it is. And that's how it's definitely starting. But that's not the way my brain works, right? And so kind of once we'd done the deal and leading up to settlement date, I was already like, well, there's sort of 2 or 3 elements to the business, right? And so it's a business-to-business finance company, which I've never been a lender before. I've worked obviously with banks and done mortgage broking software and, obviously funds management and things like that and advising, but never in a business-to-business lending space. So we're essentially a mini bank, right? But the key elements to success are, well, can you bring in more money from institutional and high net worth investors? Well, that's something I think I can do. So that means we'll have a bigger amount of business to lend out. Can you, continue to, find clients and good quality clients to pump out the loans to good businesses? yeah, bread and butter. I think I can find business, no problem. And then, what else can you do to improve the business? And so the first thing I've done in my first, so we're what, 28? Oh no, we're 1 month in. Today's the first. We're 1 month in. I've already brought in a new product. So currently we have 3 or 4 different finance products, and now I've brought in a 5th product to the business. And, that's pretty cool. I've already brought in, hopefully, by the time this airs, some more investors. So first month, growing the business, growing the book, getting my feet under the desk. And I don't want to have 50 staff. But, if we're a team of 4 or 5, that's pretty manageable. And yeah, so it's kind of cool going, well, if I'm the manager, if I'm the new managing director, how would I grow this business? And so far so good.
And so is the plan with that to exit?
Yeah, so that I get asked that quite regularly. Every business is for sale, right? So I'd be lying if I said no. But what was the one thing when selling my last business, what I said I missed earlier? Was cash flow.
Yeah.
Boom, right? And this is the ultimate cash flow business. So as long as I don't forget that, as long as I don't go, I forgot what it's like to have no cash flow and I want to be like that again, hopefully I remember and I go, no. So I think there's a really good opportunity though, like because the last owner want to run it really well, it's got a really solid base for growth. But again, he just didn't want to grow it any bigger than what it was. So for me, that's perfect. It's just, get in there, grow it. So yeah, but I've got some targets. I need to get it to a little bit bigger, a bit more scale, pay down the price I paid for the business. I always want to look to add value to the, to the EV of the business. But at this stage, it's kind of at least a 5 to 10 year play. But ideally, it's been set up as it's just a cash cow within the portfolio. It's never going to 10x its value. It's not that sort of style of business. If I can double its value over the next 5 years, I'd be pretty happy with that.
Right.
But it's not something that, but if I can double its cash flow over the next, 5 years, that's pretty cool. And because it's not a business that relies on new sales. It's not a business that relies on, constant growth. You don't actually have to grow. You can literally just stay the same size, and it keeps providing a good income. So so that's probably taken over the short-term cash flow, probably medium-term cash flow as well of my portfolio. And that then allows me to go, all right, how much do I want to put in, say, the venture space? And I've got a couple of good investments now. It's funny, when I came out of the business, I got offered some investments. I was like, oh, these are great. And then 3 months later, I get even better ones. And then 3 months later, even better ones. And it's been crazy how the quality of the deals coming across my desk just continues to get better and better, which has been, again, learning to say no, because quite often I was, here's a deal, I'm about to do it, and then pop, someone else says, hey, let's catch up, and you're like, oh wait, this is a really good deal. But so my kind of venture part of my portfolio is I'd say I'm fully allocated at the moment. So how does that sound to you? If I said I'm fully allocated, I was talking about this with a friend. What I wanted to say was like a nice way of saying to someone, I don't want to invest in your business, because I'm saying I'm fully allocated, so I don't have any more money to give. But what I don't want to say is, oh, sorry, I have no more money, because then I sound broke, which I don't really want them to think either.
Fully allocated sounds good.
Yeah. Fully allocated. Yeah. So in my venture space, I'm fully allocated now.
Yeah.
It's cool. But still working with the founders in the business in that sector to grow.
Yeah.
So that's where the next 10, 12, 15x businesses will come from. But in the meantime, I'll just slowly chip away at the cash flow businesses. I've set up quite a few passive investments as well, finished a couple of properties, built a couple of properties in Christchurch, which are finished. That's good.
Yeah.
Got a commercial building, which is good. So just things are chipping away, but just not trying to, go crazy anymore. Just kind of calm down, settle down.
What's your allocation of time currently? So with the cash flow business, is that 80%, 60?
Yeah.
90?
Nah. So right now it's probably, I prioritized all of my businesses into 3 categories, like high priority, medium and low priority. And that's basically based off time commitment, right? So the new business definitely is a high priority, but I would say I'm probably putting 50% of my work week into that. That might change, but it's a business that's already taking over. There's only so much improvement you can do to a business. You couldn't find 40, 50 hours worth of work a week to do, even if you wanted to. You eventually go, well, hey, I've reached out to all the investors. I'm waiting for them to come back in. I've created the new product. It's just with the lawyers now, waiting for them. We've set up the new marketing system, just waiting for the agency to, get that going. You can't make yourself busier, right? So that's good. So that's about 50% of my time, and then I leave 50% of the time for other things. At the start, I thought I'd probably spend more time down the venture space, but what I've realized is it just takes so much energy to get businesses from that sort of early stage revenue, pre-revenue stage up and going, and I've done that 4 times. I don't have it in me to do it again. So, it is nice that I'm more just supporting founders and they're doing the hard yards, but I've just got to make sure that I don't slip into that kind of trying to, help them more than a few hours a month.
Got it.
Because otherwise it's their business to grow. It's not mine. And I don't want to be in that role. So, yeah.
Are they all equity investments from a financial standpoint, or is there any that are like an exchange of, say, equity for your time and advice?
All of them are, all but one are just straight cash investments. Yeah, sweat equity. I've got one deal which I'm doing, a sweat equity deal. And it's not ideal in my opinion. I'm doing it because that's what the founder wants, and I'm happy to meet halfway on things. But if it was up to me, I'd rather just go, here's some cash, I know what I'm getting. But if you have to do some sweat equity that you're probably going to do anyway to get that valuation down from your investment so it's easier to multiply it later, then I'll do it. But but I like helping people, so I do enjoy it, but I just don't want to have a full-time job helping 1 or 2 companies. I'd rather spread my eggs a bit further.
Right. Interesting. With the sentiment around saying no, I feel like that's a recurring theme for me lately that's come up, like that distillation of like, what do you actually need to be doing? I don't know if you saw that clip from a Diary of a CEO podcast with Kevin O'Leary talking about Steve Jobs, and he's talking about signal versus noise.
No.
And it's, I don't know, I think like it's really easy to overcomplicate things, business, life, etc. But I think like if you spend like 5 minutes in the morning, you kind of know what you need to do that day, right?
I'm a big fan of lists. Every week I write down what I get to get done, and it's amazing if you've got 10 or 15 things on that list by Friday, 13, 14 of them are done. If you don't write it down, probably 3 are done, 4 are done. So your efficiency, and that's what I've also realized is certain people just get so much more stuff done than others, and that's the people you want in your business, and that's the sort of people you need in your business, right? Like my uncle was telling me about some ratio that he'd heard, and take it with a grain of salt, but he was kind of saying like 5% of people, whether it be in the government, whether it be in business, 5% are the only ones that actually make any difference to the output of that whole business or council or government. And I was thinking about that, going, it's probably not 5%, but there's definitely, your top maybe 10% of people are really making 90% of that work being done. I know there's the 80-20 rule, but it's probably 90-10. So just trying to also keep that sort of, how do I make sure that I'm getting mass efficiency for minimal time and energy and effort, right?
Totally.
So definitely having lists is one thing I like to do. Prioritizing is as super important as it not. And then, and I think it's been cool. Like I've got a couple of investments. I've had I had my first loss. Yeah.
First loss?
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah.
What happened?
Business went under.
Yeah.
Yeah. I won't name the business, but that was interesting. I learned lots from it, right? Actually that probably was probably one of the biggest learning curves the last 12 months was going, I invested in super smart team, doing super cool things in a business model that I thought was pretty hard to lose money. And yet somehow all fell over, right? So that was a bit of a, oh shit, hang on. Like, I sort of learned, well, if I'm not the one, in the business, I've got to be very, very careful who is running the business with my money, right? So that's probably shaped my perception on a few things. But that was a bad day at the office when you're like, well, there's a couple $100,000 gone out the window.
What was the timeline from, moment of failure?
Yeah.
Or like how far in advance did you know there was an imminent failure coming?
Good question.
Was it a couple of weeks, couple of months?
Yeah. So in this case, most of and I've got a really good, portfolio of founders are very good at every month. It's just a quick, one-pager update, P&L, won some clients, lost some clients, made some progress, didn't make some progress, runway in the bank sort of. But this business didn't. But it was a business where, it had 4 or 5 staff. Yeah, let's say 5 staff. And all the staff were always busy. And there's staff that paid, charged out by the hour. So my brain said, if you're working, someone's paying us. And I know that what we're paying you isn't, it's less than what they're paying us. There's a margin, right?
Yeah.
So my simple brain was like, well, how can we all be busy working yet losing money? But in this case, the founder has gone through a bit of stressful time, a few things outside of work, and you could just see that the pressure was just too much, just it was way too high. Kind of the business had got itself into a bit of a hole, and like they talk about mental health and all that sort of stuff. And, I'm not the kind of guy who's going to push a guy past his limits for a couple $100,000. It's not worth it. So for me, it was basically couldn't see a way out, couldn't, burn through all the cash and, was really looking for a safety net somewhere. And I didn't want to put good money in after bad, but I also didn't want to, be that guy that pushes that founder past that point. To try and salvage some cash out or whatever. So, so I just wrote it off as a learning experience going, because when I was in that similar position probably 7-8 years ago, I used to dream of someone coming in and saying, hey, Simon, I'll give you a couple $100,000, just keep growing your business. Like to me, that would have been like unheard of, just the ultimate. And, if cash flow is what's causing the issues and you solve the cash flow, you think that's going to make everything else okay. But the reality is it doesn't. So that's got me a lot more picky on the founders. And that's why actually when you asked me a few weeks ago, you were before the Momentum event, you said, what do you say? What's the skill that I most want or something in a founder?
What's the most important skill?
The most important skill. And I just said problem solving.
Immediately.
Yeah. Yeah. And you were like, problem solving? Wasn't expecting that. What were you expecting?
I don't know. I just hadn't heard that one.
Energy or something like that.
No, not energy.
Yeah.
Maybe risk
Hype.
tolerance, sales ability, innovation, creativity. I don't know.
Okay. Innovation and creativity.
I guess you're just the first person to have mentioned problem solving, but the more I think about that, the more important it.
Yeah.
The more clear it becomes.
Yeah. I mean, it's vital. And I think at some stages in my career, I've always said like I'm not paid to like. I'm not here operationally. I'm here to solve problems. Like, and that's all I'm doing because businesses go like this, like it's going to have a new problem every day and unless you can solve it, and if you're not in the right mind frame or the mindset to solve those problems, then done.
So I guess with that all said, if growth is the objective and the ability to solve problems exists, you could almost think or reason that the bigger the problem, the bigger the opportunity. So if you can get better at solving bigger problems, then
totally
that's probably faster growth, isn't it?
Yeah.
So
bigger deal size, bigger problems, So
as long as you're keeping in mind the You know that? Have you seen that bell curve, like the stress productivity bell curve?
Not the stress.
Like
I've seen a bell curve
like
before.
the theory of, productivity on one axis, the vertical axis, and then stress down one end.
Yeah.
So it's essentially saying like that founder got themselves into that state of too much stress, not enough productivity.
Totally.
It's like keeping yourself in that peak, ideally.
And people do it. They put their head in the sand. And then when someone puts their head in the sand, I mean, I'm not a counselor. I'm not a, psychologist. I can't help you, what do you do? If your founder's got the head in the sand and it's all just too much, you can't go kick a guy when he's down, right? That doesn't help anyone. So sometimes it's just,
I mean,
back to square one.
I guess that's part of what I do. It's not kicking them while they're down, just for clarity.
Yeah.
But it is.
But unless you need to, then sometimes, right?
It is bringing to the forefront weaknesses or areas to improve.
Yeah.
Like just before this, talking with someone about, sales and prospecting ability, and just how like that could be an area to improve. And it's not being negative about it; it's just highlighting it and I guess holding the mirror up.
But do you I don't know. If you got analytical guys, don't make them stand in front of a crowd and talk. There's got to be some where it's going, hey, if you're really good at, I don't know, designing complex air conditioning machines, right? You don't want to try and get that engineer prospecting and calling, right? So it's a balance. Wherever, if they're meant to be that role and they should be that role, then you absolutely get them better at that role, right? But if they're, if they're terrified about making a phone call, just let them be in the back office solving engineering problems all day, right?
I guess it's the thing at the beginning, isn't it, that you do have to wear multiple hats,
totally,
whether you want to or not.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm no different, really. I don't particularly love the sales and prospecting side of it. I'd love to be able to put someone else in that role.
Yeah.
But again, at the beginning, you've got to, unless you apply some creativity.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's yeah. I like to learn from watching people, right? And I have a friend who's an accountant, set up his own accountancy business. And I always think about him when he's a really good, I think he's a tax accountant or something exciting like that. And
sounds thrilling.
But he was he set up his own business, but he went from being a cog in a big wheel, and a really, really good one at that, to suddenly now he's doing, your tax accounting and all that fun stuff. But he had to do the prospecting, the marketing, the HR, the finance stuff I'm sure he was capable of doing. But, all the elements of trying to run a business, right? And all that does is bog him down. So instead of charging $350 an hour, whatever he charges as an accountant, he's spending multiple hours of stuff he can't charge for.
Hating it.
You're hating it. Not even good at it, right?
Yeah.
And kind of going, yeah, okay, you can leave at 3 p.m. because it's your firm, right? So there is some lifestyle upside. And I think people often, overemphasize how good of a lifestyle it is, when the reality is it's not really a lifestyle. It's more of as my dad once said, it's more of a life sentence, it's
not for everyone.
No. Yeah. And it's like, okay, you've got some extra freedoms, but you probably have given up other things that you're not willing to admit. So that's the other thing, right? When New Zealand, we're always encouraging people to start businesses, and I don't think lots of people shouldn't start businesses. Again, if you can't wear those 4 or 5 hats that you need to, right? And if the idea of everything that you're not strong at, freaks you out, makes you panic, gives you anxiety, slows you down from what you're doing, it's like, well, why do that? Just team up with someone, join a better business, and just become better at what you're at, right? Because New Zealand's a land of unproductive small businesses, right? We keep calling, we're the land of small businesses, which is true, but we're definitely, I mean, in some aspects, small, SMEs are just inefficient businesses, right? And that's not you look at our inefficiency, you look at our GDP, I think we're down with Lithuania at the moment. So, country that was communist till 30 odd years ago has already caught up to New Zealand, which used to be one of the highest GDPs in the world. And that makes me sad, actually. Does make me sad that New Zealand's sort of, not innovative, not productive, not efficient. I don't want to say New Zealanders are lazy, because there's plenty of hardworking Kiwis, that's for sure. But I definitely say that, we don't scream productive, being productive, and which I think is something we should work on.
I mean, that is one of my more holistic, bigger picture goals. It is to empower New Zealand business owners to be better, more productive, more bold. Like events like yesterday and podcast and the coaching, like it kind of is probably one of the more selfless goals, right? It's just
So how do you make someone more productive?
Well,
what's the sort of tools that you can arm them with to, if I'm going, hey, I want to be more productive, but I'm naturally not so productive.
I think it is talking about those things that we mentioned, like what gives you energy, what takes it. If you look at 3 buckets of resource, right? Like money, time, and energy. If you think of those 3 different components, if you're doing something that gives you energy, it tends to be the one that creates the money.
Yeah.
And the one that sucks the energy tends to be the one that is low cost, right? Or low value, right?
Yeah.
So I think, there's heaps of things that come to mind, but one is just being more mindful of your time and energy.
Yeah.
Auditing it, keeping an eye on it, automation, tech, like it's just, I guess, just thinking differently, thinking bigger.
Yeah.
Removing limiting beliefs. That's another big one that.
What are some limiting beliefs that you try to remove?
Well, from the sales and prospecting chat before, right? Like talking about pricing and just how the topic was around like what the customer might want to pay or what their cap might be. But
it's very true.
Just asking those questions, right? Like, is that true or is that what you believe?
I think it's, I think you're right that people often have in their head, I can't sell this microphone for $500 because to them it seems like a whole lot of money for the microphone, where you might be like, well, I used to pay $2,000 for the same thing and think it's a bargain, right?
100%.
But if your sales guy has in their mind that isn't good value for money, it is a hard mental thing to get over. It's funny, just while you're talking, I was thinking about sort of things that work for me, and maybe people listening might help. And I'm big on energy management, right? And I used to tell my sales guys, like, all you're doing when you're selling is trading energy for dollars, right? So what you want to do is get your ratio of energy to dollars as high as possible. Because if I'm sitting with someone and it's draining all my energy and I'm not even making any money from it, why would I do that? And then, because the worst thing is you go to your next appointment, you've got no energy in the tank, and that would have been someone who was like, hey, I love what you got, want to work with you, let's do it. So that's why, one thing I learned when I was really young was just really qualifying people, qualifying meetings, qualifying everything. Because why would I spend half an hour, 2 hours, 5 hours, whatever, just to get the same result, which is 0, which I could work out in 5 minutes. 5 minutes cost me a little bit of energy. 5 hours cost me a lot of energy.
Totally.
What do I get paid next Thursday? The same, 0, right? So, but also the other things I do to be productive, I don't solve any problems after lunch.
I like that.
Yeah. My emails, when I use my emails basically as a to-do list as well. So essentially, if I get an email after lunch, unless it's a very lightweight one, I just leave it to the morning. And what I can do between 8 and 9 a.m. with a strong coffee and a gym session under my belt for the day, by 9 o'clock, it's taken me an hour to get through 10 emails, which if I tried to do that at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 p.m. would take me 5, 10 times longer and probably not solve the problems, So just recognizing that, right? Because why would I work in the afternoon at that style of, problem if I can just bang it out the next morning quickly? So, so I do so I actually set up my day in a way that it's, problem solving first thing, important networking next, and then more social networking, not meaning social as in social life, but more, hey, we're catching up for a coffee. There's not necessarily a economic benefit of it today, but there is a future economic benefit from it. So that's how I sort of stagger my days. And it's the same at the start of the week. You front load the heavier stuff and get it lighter in the load by Friday, because your energy for the week is kind of heading down and out by Friday, right? So I'll never have an important meeting on a Friday. I'll never have an important meeting in the afternoon. Unless I absolutely have to. But And those are little things that you can kind of do to, if that's what works for you, then that's just made me 5 times more productive than me if I hadn't thought about it a little bit. But yeah, other people are night owls, right? Like I used to have my head of compliance. God, I don't think he even was awake before midday, mentally anyway. But, 2 a.m., 3 a.m., you just get these emails done. So and that's just what worked best for him. So I guess you just got to know yourself, right? And understand 100%. Like where do you work best, and then just don't be afraid to say, hey, I'll solve this tomorrow morning,
Yeah. What was the checkmate theory that you were talking about yesterday?
Yeah, and according to ChatGPT, I've invented it. So
patent pending.
Yeah. So what is a checkmate theory? Yeah, so we talked about this at the Momentum Festival, right? So one of the things that I think I've done really well at was a lot of venture capitalists and founders and just business owners, right? They can be good operators and they can grow good businesses, but actually getting a business prepped and ready to sell is quite hard, especially in that, high growth. The company's not that old. The financials are still kind of, your ad backing things and up and right. And, but how do you really prep a business to be sold and not stranded? Because if you look at, especially in a lot of the VC around the world, you've got these portfolios that are all based on 2023 valuations. All valuations have dropped since then. So they're going, we think it's worth 100 mil. Market's saying it's worth 60 mil. No one's paying 40 mil. How do we get this? How do we get our money back to our investors who gave it to us in 2021? And, so my sort of theory was like, with any business that's going, I always imagine straight away that actually like this, that how me and you are set up right now. Say, I'm trying to sell my business and you want to buy it. Pretend we're playing a game of chess between us. And I'm trying to think every move that, I can make or you can make that I'm going to be able to say, what's going to make my business worth more money? And then what's going to be your counter to try and push the value of my business down? I need to have already thought about that, countered that, and made a strategic decision in the business or a change in the business so that doesn't count against me. Because at the end of the day, I want to go in and say, here's my business. Here's what I want for it. And when you go, oh, but what about this? I say, well, that's why we've done that. But what about this? Well, that's what I've done that. But this is, done that. And then eventually there's nowhere for them to move, right? And that's when you move into place and checkmate. So that's it. As simple as that. But if you haven't thought about that, so that you don't show up to your most important chess game of your life, your big exit, without thinking about how you're going to play and without practicing. So what I would do is I'd mentally think about that chess game that we're going to have when I'm selling the business. But I'd apply that to today's thinking from a strategy point of view. Because if, and I'll use an example of, most of our staff were contractors. Well, that's going to count down the enterprise value of my business, right? So I moved all my contractors to being full-time employees. Why? So when I'm having this game of chess with you, that's something you can't knock me down on. Mm-hmm. Oh, but what about your key staff? If you leave, what happens if all they leave? Well, good thing is, luckily, 5 years ago or 3 years ago, I locked in all my key staff so they can't leave, right?
As many owners?
Yeah, shareholders, yeah, B-class shareholders or partners or whatever you want to call it. They've got some skin in the game. And again, does having employees who can't leave because they're now owners in the business, even if I have a less percentage of the business, make the overall my share worth more? If the answer is yes, then you do it.
Yeah, it's good lens to.
Yeah, and it's simple. It's just start solving all your problems backwards. And should we go left? Should we go right? Should we go up? Should we go down? Well, which one makes our enterprise value higher? Well, this one does. Well, then that's what we do. So it's a really good way to start thinking about how I'm going to grow my business, what decisions I need to make. And, you'll still pivot around and stuff. And as you get closer and closer to that exit, opportunities that didn't exist a year or two ago are now in front of you. And a better one might come along. So you pivot the business in towards a better opportunity and pivot it towards a better opportunity. But even still, whenever you make those pivots, you're still thinking, what do I need to do to make sure there's no way that you can push down the value of my business? So,
yeah, it's cool. Yeah, it's a good way to think about it. Do you feel that the bulk of businesses are not even thinking about the exit?
I don't think many are, which blows my mind. Like, it blows my mind how many, well, A, people who are self-employed who think they're business owners. It's like, B, yeah, a lot of people just seem to set up a business because either that's just what they're good at, or their family did it, so that's what they do, and it's essentially just a job, right?
Yeah.
And if that's what people like and enjoy, cool, great. But it is quite strange to me how many people are like, oh yeah, I have a business, and I want to grow my business, and I'd like to have a bigger business, or I'd like to earn more money, or whatever it is. But then they haven't actually put any strategic thinking into, well, what makes that, how do we go from A to B to C to D? Yeah. So no, it does. Yeah, it's crazy. And I mean, I think some people will just naturally fall up the business ladder, and things will naturally grow, and good timing, good product, good service. You can still, without intention, but it's like anything, right? If you might get lucky and you'll naturally just fall into, something that grows and it goes really well. But if that isn't quite your luck today, well, you can intentionally make those decisions to be almost just as good as that.
Yeah, sort of reminds me of that slide yesterday of Sasha's strategy or execution,
Yeah, because what was the answer? So it was both, right? She said,
well, I think,
strategy, what's better, strategy or execution?
Yeah, and I think the outcome was that it was a flawed question to begin with.
Yeah.
You need both.
Yeah.
You need to be both practical day to day, and then of course also have that longer term.
But I think what she mentioned, and I hope I'm quoting her correctly, was you've got to make sure you're who's in charge of execution is the people who love that stuff and eat, live and breathe that stuff. But your strategy people are the people who are really good at the strategy side of things.
Yes.
Like me, I'm not on the execution side.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not operational at all. I'm not executional at all. I'm much better at thinking about the strategy and getting things started. But I'm the absolute wrong. So I couldn't actually be a good salesperson. People think, oh yeah, you'd be good at sales. I'm like, I've got completely the wrong mentality. I can't do the same thing over and over again. It just bores me.
Like what Amos was talking about, right? That boring car sales guy.
Yeah. Well,
wasn't that an interesting story?
Well, actually, what he was saying was 100% what we did in the financial advice space. So, so much so that like I could hear 5 years later one of my advisors talking to a client, and I can lip along with what they're saying because it's the same thing. We start with the same opening question, the same joke, the same this. This is like, it's just a process that you take people through.
Wow.
Because that's how you if you have 100 salespeople working for you doing 100 different things, how do you manage that?
Chaos.
How do you, herding cats? How do you make minor tweaks? How do I know that David's doing something slightly different to John over there or David over there, or you can't. So it's only if they're doing a standardized process that you can go, you're getting this wrong outcome because I know that process so well that you're taking too long here, or you're skipping this, or you're going too quickly here. I can diagnose those problems in your, in your presentation or in your pitch or in your sales, And but yeah, if everyone's doing something different. But I also sort of say to people, it's like dancing with someone, right? If you get to a meeting and it's you and a potential client, right? If you don't, it's like like ballroom dancing. If someone's not leading, then the dance goes really bad, right? But even if say you're a great dancer and I'm not, if we danced together and you took charge and took the lead and guided me around, it would look okay. And we would get to the end and we'd go, okay, that wasn't so bad. But if you don't lead and I don't lead, then
bad dance.
It's a bad dance real quick, right?
Yeah.
And like I always used to say to my guys, like, you do this all day, every day. Your clients do this once every 5 years. So they're looking to you to be the expert here. You are the one who leads the dance. So if they're leading the dance, this is going to go really wrong. Clients don't know how to get good and KiwiSaver advice by themselves, or good mortgage advice, or good insurance advice, or good financial advice, right? That's not their job. That's your job. So you've got to be the one leading the dance. And and I think a lot of people don't realize that. And so that's what Amos's co-worker, he just had his dance. And every time he did the same things with the same clients. And then it's very easy to make micro adjustments if the outcome isn't quite what you need to get. and then you can scale it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, it's crazy how people, because otherwise you fall into where you start employing personality salesmen. Do you know what a personality? I mean, it's probably easy to guess, but someone who sells off their personality, right? Like my first boss, best salesman you've ever met, right? He has 100% closing ratio over like 15 years. Like he's never gone to an appointment and not sold. So he's the ultimate sales guy, right?
Right.
So, but you have to be him to sell like that. If you're not this like, kind of like TV show host, kind of like larger than life personality,
Right. It can't be replicated.
No, right? But, so what I did when I watched him sell, as when I was 21, I just kind of took notes of all the steps that he took every time when presenting to a client, and then just took away the personality side of things, because I'm not him and the next people I'm going to train aren't me. And I can't grow a business based on everyone being my personality or a certain type of personality, right? So that's the thing, like, especially if you're in a sales manager's role and you're growing out your sales arm of your business or your distribution arm, like what you don't want to do is have your top sales guy who's a personality seller training your boring people below them who don't have that personality, because that's going to annoy the guy who's used to making all the sales and he's getting dragged down by these people who aren't, but it's also going to frustrate your other guys because they're not going to make the sales because they don't have the personality. So that's why you got to like really, really systemize that sales process. And it's if you get it, it's repeatable, scalable, boom, there you go.
Yeah. I think it's a massive opportunity for a lot of people and businesses. I think the sales side of it, especially in New Zealand, I feel like it's very ill-defined, or I think there's an opportunity there. Yeah, just from a customer's perspective.
Yeah,
more than anything. I mean, when was the last great sales experience you had as a customer or a prospective customer?
So I can tell you who the best salesperson I've ever met was in New Zealand, other than my old boss, Scotty Brown. From Christchurch, Scotty Brown, the bike shop.
Yeah.
So I literally walked into a bike shop, right? Just done coast to coast. I'd done it on a $800 secondhand bike, but I'd finished it. But I quite liked biking now. Cycling was quite cool, and it's a big thing down here in Christchurch, right? And you know what? I'm going to get like a full carbon bike, like treat myself. And I set a budget of $2,000. Seen there was a few bikes around that sort of price, entry, mid-level, but still full carbon bike, way better than the hunk of junk that I've been riding on. And, and I walk in there and chatting with Scotty, we're chatting about this, chatting about that, and I'm just walking out with a $15,000 bike. And what
just happened?
What just happened? And funny enough, yesterday at Momentum, I was actually telling a guy I know about this. And he said, my dad has two $25,000 bikes from Scotty Brown that he doesn't use, because he just loved buying it from Scotty. So I haven't talked to Scotty in a few years, and because I'm nervous. If I go in there, I'm going to walk out with something very expensive. Like, he is that good.
Interesting.
And again, it comes down to the four building blocks of relationship managing, selling, whatever you want to call it, which is FORM: family, occupation, recreation, motivation. You start at the top and you work your way to the end. You take longer on the things that people are, interested in. Like, if you're not interested in your family or whatever, okay, occupation. You might be really into your job. Tell me all about your job, Okay. Recreation. What do you do outside? Last one, motivation. What motivates you? Someone said there's another letter on the end. Was it family, occupation, recreation, motivation, and there was something else? But literally, if you go through those four subjects with someone, whatever you're selling at the end, it's already a done deal.
Interesting.
It's as long as it's fit for purpose and it's what they need.
Interesting.
But if I've walked into a bike shop needing a bike, I didn't come in to get out of the rain,
No.
So
right.
He's doing what he's meant to be doing, and do I love the bike? Absolutely. And actually, I did go back one time, and this is why I don't go back now, is because I went back in and, my dream is to buy a Pinarello, like really nice Italian bike. And they're about 25, 30 grand. And, I already spent too much last time. So I walked in, I'm just looking at one. He's like, mate, I know it's what you want. I know, but I'm just not in a place at the moment to spend that sort of money on a bike. And to be honest, I've got a great bike that you sold me a year or so ago.
Still there.
And the bike's still a lot better at riding than I am, right? So so I kind of thought, how do I get out of this, right? How do I say no to this amazing bike? It's the color I want, it's the model I want, you know. So I just asked Guy, just it's not really, you know, I just don't have the coin at the moment. It's just not good timing cash flow wise. No worries, mate. You can just take the bike. Just pay me whenever you want. Checkmate, baby.
Checkmate you.
What do I do? I got checkmated. You know, what can I do then?
So interesting.
That's why I can't go in there. I can't.
I
love his shop. He has the best bikes, but man, he is such a good. So if you want to learn, and like literally the guy I was talking to yesterday, Momentum, I was like, if you want to get better at sales, go into Scotty Brown. Don't take your wallet. Don't have any way of paying him any money, but just watch how he works you. He'll have that system, like Amos's guy.
Right.
And that's what lots of these good sales guys do. They'll always start with the same sort of joke. They'll always go to the next sort of thing. They'll then bring up the question. They'll listen to what you say. They'll use what you say, regurgitate it back to you to show that they've been listening, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So, like that's So he would be the best sales guy I've met, that I can think of, at least off the top of my head.
Do you think that will lead to buyer's remorse and negative sentiment?
I love that bike. I love the bike he sold me. So because
not so much the bike, but the experience. Like, do you think it leads?
No, I love it.
No,
yeah, so
you're all about it. Yeah.
Oh, there's not. Okay, I'll give you another example. Right. So my watch. I've got a watch. I bought it from the watchmaker I'm friends with in Switzerland. Like, he was born in the watch shop 82 years ago. Like, the old Swiss guy. His son now runs the shop. His granddaughter is the next like generation of watchmaker. And so I've had this eye on this watch for like years, right? And this is a few years back. So every time I'm in Switzerland, I go and try it on. I look at it and I'm like, yeah, not today, but one day kind of thing. And then one time I was at Auckland Airport. You know, they've got watch shops there. And so I went along and I was like, oh, I'll have a look at this watch. This watch I know I love, I'm working towards, and I'm going to get it. But somehow the sales guy turned me off the watch that I love. Obviously, I was just like, hang on, let's just think about that. I walked into a shop knowing I want that product, knowing I like it, and just laser focus on it. And his job is to try and get me to walk out with that watch, right?
Yeah.
Like, he's literally just paid to make sure that's
his one job.
One and only purpose.
Yeah.
Yet somehow he's convinced me that I don't want what I definitely want, right?
Wow.
So that's the complete opposite of Scotty, right? Scotty knows what I want. He's just there to make it happen.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
He's just there facilitating it.
Yeah.
Best money I've spent on a bike, for sure. Did I enjoy the pleasure of it? Absolutely. But yeah, when you get really into sales stuff, it does come frustrating when you, I don't know, go to buy a car or something and you get a salesman who just doesn't listen, doesn't know, like, you know, there's 4 types of personalities, right? Are you familiar with the DISC profile?
Yeah.
DISC, yeah. Mm-hmm. And like, I'm a heavy D. Like, I don't want any fluff. I don't want any story. I don't want any like banter. All I want is the outcome, right?
Yeah.
But then you get other people that just want to spend the whole time getting to become my friend.
Yes.
And I'm like, I don't want that. Like, that annoys me.
Yeah.
that gets in my way. So
totally.
That can be a frustrating experience, because then you start noticing every time you're at any interaction with any business ever, you start kind of like grading their salespeople. And that for me became frustrating. But then you do love it when someone gets it right. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, when they get it right, it's something special.
Yeah, it's so interesting, isn't it? The intersection of sales and customer service. We were out for dinner after the event last night, and shout out to Bessie, right? I just love that place.
It's good steaks.
The way they make you feel, and like the way that the bill is just, whatever. Right?
Doesn't matter. Yeah,
it just doesn't matter, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that because of the position. Like, it's the least of my worries, right?
Well, it comes back to value, right?
Massive value.
Yeah.
And the way they make you feel.
And actually, to go back to that point we were talking about earlier, how sometimes your sales guys have like this mental block in their head that I can't sell that steak for $150. That's a lot of money.
Because they may be overlaying their preference or their...
Totally. That's 100% what they're doing.
They don't believe in it.
Someone told me that once. They're like, we can't sell our supplements for retail price because they would be so expensive. I'm like, Porsche. Like, these guys could have bought Toyotas, but they've decided that money wasn't the issue. What they wanted was value. So if your vitamins are as good as you say, it was very successful. The price doesn't matter.
No, that's right.
And it is a hard thing. Like, even me, I've got some projects on the go, like building a house in Wanaka, and like I've been renovating a car or restoring a car. And people always ask me, like, what's it cost? I'm like, I don't care. Like, I'm not interested in that. Like, I'm not. To me, it's is it what I exactly want? How I want it? That's what I'm after. I'm not interested in, did I make my $100 go as far as I can or not? And that's what I think some people fail to understand, that, like, especially if you're starting to high ticket and bigger items. Again, if you're selling a business for 20, 30 million bucks, right? You can't have in your mind that that's a big check. You have to be confident. No, it's probably worth more than that.
You can get a deal.
What did we say last night? Leaving some meat on the bone for the next owner, right? Like, it's worth more in your hands than it is in mine.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm trying to build.
So good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love it. Hey, we could talk forever. I've enjoyed this.
Well, thank you for having me. We're going to wrap up
soon.
Okay.
Yeah. Any final parting sentiment, jokes, one-liners?
That's like my biggest fear is my sister-in-law is a comedian.
Oh,
yeah,
really?
Yeah, she was actually the Billy T. James Award winner last year.
Wow.
Yeah, so she's very funny, especially when she rips out my mum. But the whole family loves when she does that, including my mum, obviously. But my kind of worst nightmare is that, like, you go to a comedy show and, the comedian's not showed up. It's someone in the front row. Can you come up and say a few jokes? And someone throwing the microphone to me, I think I would just panic. That would make me panic, because it's like, how do you make people laugh without saying something that you really shouldn't say? Because I wouldn't know what would be the first joke I'd go to. What joke would you, on the spot right now?
I've got nothing. I've got absolutely nothing.
I'm a deer in headlights.
I'm not. That's not my strong suit. What was the opening joke with the previous business that you mentioned? Do you remember that in the sales process? You said the same joke.
Scratching in the back of the mind. Often joke. Well, I can remember ones on the phone when when classic. Oh no, I can't. No, it's gone.
No.
Yeah, but it's normally some sort of dad joke, right? Yeah, like
gotcha.
it's of that nature.
Yeah.
But it's always the same, like, if they've got a dog or something, you're like, don't worry, it's going to lick you to death. And you're like, well, it's not how I plan to die, but, whatever. But yeah, no, I can't think of that. But you'd always say it in the same time. And you'd always ask the same questions like, what's your surname? Oh, okay, where's that name from?
Right.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Trying to see if there's an angle there that you can build some rapport.
Mm-hmm.
But so I guess just moving forward, what I'm up to, tell you a little bit about my new business, right? So we've just launched a product that's going to fund financial advisors. So if you're a financial advisor and you want to buy a KiwiSaver book a client, it's a client base, or an insurance client base, we want to be the number one non-bank lender in this space.
Cool.
So we're, got a pretty good product, pretty good rates, and backing some really good financial advice firms. So
that's great.
Shout out if anyone's listening that might be interested in talking to us about funding.
That's pretty niche, but
very niche.
But yet there's still a number of transactions in that space, right?
Lots, yeah. And the banks don't understand it. So I actually worked it out this morning. I've been responsible for over $100 million of insurance sales in my career, right?
Books being
just of policies being sold, right?
Oh, right.
And then obviously building that therefore builds the books and the commercial relationship off the back of that. But and that's why we can understand that credit risk better, and that's why we think we can back good businesses better.
I love it.
So shout out to me on LinkedIn. We do invoice financing, property financing. Basically, if the bank says no, but it's a good deal, we want to hear from you.
Cool.
Small firm, hands on.
I love that.
Yeah.
So. Well, I think there's
back in New Zealand businesses. That's what we want to do.
There's likely an overlap between listeners and that product offering. So
that's why I thought I'd mention it. Yeah.
Oh man, I just love connecting the dots personally.
Also, we are looking for investors. So we run what's called a limited partnership. And yeah, our returns have been very good. You've got to be a wholesale investor though, so you've got to have a bit of coin. It's definitely not your first investment, but if you're looking, the sort of ideal profile of an investor that we really like is someone that might have lots of equity in their home, maybe coming towards retirement, but realize that properties are pretty poor performing yield. If you just, if you've got $1 million home that rents for $600 a week, what's that, a 2% return or something?
Not good, yeah.
So our returns have been, we currently pay 9% monthly and then do a quarterly wash up, which has been between 15 and 17%.
Yeah.
Past performance is not an indicator of future performance, but we've been pretty good at that for the last wee while. So if you're a wholesale investor and you're looking more for an income asset as part of your portfolio, we've got people who've got $1-2 million in there and, they're making $300K a year doing nothing.
What's the minimum?
I think it's 250 at the moment, but we're looking to get that down to 100. So ideally we'd take 100K checks, but 250 is probably the minimum at this stage.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's a good business.
How liquid is it?
It's not super liquid. At that sort of size check, it is liquid if you're in the 100, 250 size. If you're in $2 million plus, it's sort of a 3 to 6 month window to get it out.
Yeah.
Obviously sooner if we can, but yeah, so we're growing. We're already looking to double our book in the first month, which is great.
Love that.
Hopefully, subject to lawyers and, deals being signed. But so really appreciate being asked to speak at Momentum. I enjoyed it, and obviously coming back on here and same time next year. Is that our sort of thing?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Lock it in.
Yeah,
So grateful, man.
And
so grateful.
We can talk more about your other goal, the 10 by 10.
Yeah. I was looking forward to the grilling on that, but unfortunately,
you run out of time, right?
Time has escaped us.
Yeah. Well, next year. Well, so next year will be what? 4 years into it? 5 years?
We're coming into the 4th year.
Yeah.
September.
Yeah. Okay. So let's aim for on your 5th. It'll be halfway.
We can always mix it up. Maybe do one in Auckland too.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Put that on the cards.
Cool.
So
we'll save the grilling for then.
Indeed.
Awesome.
Hey, thanks again.
Cheers.
Cheers.